Hello, I'm Craig Lovelace. I'm pastor of Danieltown Baptist Church, and I'm also the chaplain and a sergeant in the 16th South Carolina Regiment Volunteer. Well, I want to show you, like our lieutenant showed his kit in his reenacting gear. And you can see I got a few extra little things gathered out here. So what we're going to do is we're going to start off here at this table. Mind you, the table is not period correct, or the flag isn't, but I'm going to show you a few little things here, what you want to do and what you might not want to do. And again, I'm not telling you to be just like me. So anyway, one thing you want to do if you're a man, naturally if you're a woman watching this and you want to get into this, I hate to tell you, hon, but a lot of women did not serve inside of the military aspect of the force. There were women who snuck in to be soldiers, but that's generally frowned upon in the reenacting community. But fellas, one thing you do want to do is try to get you this right here. You don't have to grow a full-on beard. I've been growing this about a year and a half now. You say, well, what about up there? Well, I can't control that. But that's the good Lord's job. But anyway, if you can't grow a beard, try to grow a mustache. If you can't, I know some guys, they get like some grease or something and put it on because spectators far away, they can't tell that. The main thing is that in the 1860s, facial hair was in style, and you can see that in a lot of pictures and photographs. But in 1861, when the guys first went to war, there were a lot of fresh-faced, clean-shaven type guys, but if you're doing later war, 1863 to 65, you want to get a little bit of facial hair if you can. Now, most people, they're going to start off, and they're going to go on the internet, they're going to go by eBay, go to the average sutler, and they're going to grab something that's going to look like this. This is your standard wool jacket. It's got CSA buttons on it. And then they're going to grab one of these. This is called a kepi. This is from the 1861 design. So this is what they're generally going to start off with. I want to tell you right now, if you want to spend your money on that, that's your choice. But I'm going to tell you right now, kepis, they did see service throughout the war, but the problem with this is when you're out on the battlefield and you're wearing this, these little jokers right here, your ears, they're going to fry. They're going to fry like bacon, especially if you get wounded, shot on the battlefield and you go down. That sun's going to beat down on you. Sometimes it's 90-something degree weather, and your little ear is going to burn. Also, this wool tunic or jacket right here, you know, the blue and the gray, well, you stay away from this. Do this for like a living history or something for little kids, you know, the gray, us, the good guys, you know. But stay away from this if at all possible. Now, if you do want to get something, now this I actually had custom made. This is from Milk Creek Sutlery. And what this is, there's an interesting little story behind this. I won't bore you with all the details because we got to get through this. But this is actually a Federal style sack coat. And it's even got the Yankee buttons on it. But you'll notice it's not a Union color. You got hand stitching here. So what this is the butternut. But it's a butternut color in a frock coat design. And you say, did that ever happen? And also it's online. Online is usually cheaper. But anyway, Nathan Bedford Forrest, many of his troopers, they captured a lot of Yankee uniform. And what happened is they were wearing so many Yankee jackets and tunics that people started mistaking them for the enemy. And so he gave an order and he said, you better dye those things butternut, you better dye them a different color. And a lot of them did. So that's what this represents. Now, I will say this. When the Southern troops did use gray a lot toward the beginning of the war, this was supposed to be our standard color, cadet gray. But gray, the dye ran out, so what a lot of guys had to do back at home, the ladies, they used different type of poles and shells, like walnuts and so forth, like Lieutenant Willis talked about. And so they dyed these, and this became known as a butternut design. And this is also wool. Now, the 16th South Carolina, we did not, this regiment did not serve in the Army of Northern Virginia. This unit actually served in the Army of Tennessee. And what this is a jean cloth design. So this is what a lot of your reenacting units are going to want you to get into. And this is the standard shell jacket. You'll notice, I will show you later when I show you the chaplain's uniform I have. That uses a frock coat, which goes down towards the knees. But this shell jacket design would be more popular 1862, somewhat 1863, because especially in the South, as it preserved fabric. Now notice we have wooden buttons here. So I will tell you this here also before I button up. This is a civilian vest. It was actually considered a etiquette fox pass to not wear a vest. Now of course you're in the military. You're not going to be waltzing around in front of the ladies, so this you can leave at home. But one thing I will say, that this is a somewhat of a modern chain, but if you'll notice, these are actually period correct. These are actually authentic here. The clasp, what I did was I had one that was in terrible condition, so I changed the chain and I put the clasp on it. Now, you might have your great-great-grandpa's pocket watch. I do not recommend you in any shape or form to bring an actual personal authentic object onto the battlefield. I have heard of some people doing that, like New Testaments, Bibles. I'll get to that in another video. It's pretty cool, some information I'm going to show you. But if you have a 1880s, 1870s, or even 1850s, 1840s, 50s, 60s pocket watch, and it's your family heirloom, and it works, you are nuts to bring that onto the battlefield. Anyway, this is just a standard quartz. It's a battery operated. It's got the standard dial on it for your Roman numerals. So anyway, this would be considered period correct. A little farby in the fact that you don't hand wind it, but notice I did go on eBay and I got a wind-up key for a pocket watch. So that will hang there and that will go inside there. So this looks authentic. If I open it up, it's going to appear authentic. So again, that's what we're wanting there. If, like Lieutenant Willis said, if you can cut some corners and save some money, just like this here, this is underwear. I never wear these. I got it for free. Somebody sent it to me in a uniform that I got years ago. I've never worn this. Now, if you want to wear something like this, that's your privilege. But nobody's going to be checking out my underwear, so I wear my underwear. I'm not going to buy this. I'm going to save my money. So, you don't have to have your shiny brass buttons. Army, Tennessee, we just use what we can, so these are wooden buttons. And you'll notice the cuff. The cuff there is a deep dark blue that isn't black, although it may appear black, but it's dark blue. You say, what about that thing on your head, that hat there? Well, I'm going to get to that in just a minute. What you want to do is you want to get to something that's more or less a slouch hat. That's all American. So I use this when I'm doing a chaplain's uniform sometimes. But this is what I wear as far as my hat goes. So this is the hat that I wear. You'll notice it keeps the rain off of you, off of your ears, off of your face. Also, it keeps the sun off of your ears, so it's good protection. So that's something you can wear. This is a more floppy one, more like out of felt. And I'm also going to tell you too, don't skimp on this stuff. If you're going to spend the money, go like with a Clearwater or go with Dirty Billy. Go with something that's worthwhile. Don't do this cheap crap that you find at some Sutler Row quality. You're going to wind up wasting your money, and like Lieutenant Willis said, you're going to go back and buy it all over again. So don't buy cheap. Try to borrow from somebody inside of your unit, and if you join us in the 16th, we'll be glad to help you out. But one of the first things you want to buy is your brogan. Don't skimp on the shoes. That's the first thing you need to get, because some of us, we can help you with your trousers, which is your pants, but don't skimp on your shoes. Get your shoes first. It's one of the worst things that kills at an event when you see somebody running around in black tennis shoes. No. We want to put this on for people to see and experience history, but when they come up and they see you walking around in Nike, no, don't do that. That's stupid. Now you say, what about your pants? Well, you can't really see it a lot here, but you'll notice I have, this is homemade suspenders. These are button up. You find these on eBay. I will show you when I do my federal impression. Up there. Now also notice that when you're wearing your pants, I'm kind of tight in these things anyway, they go to your belly button. So when you're measuring for your pants, measure your belly button, not down here at we normally see as our waist today. So you'll notice these pants, they look dirty, they look terrible. Well, that's the nature. That's what you're really shooting for. You don't want to look spick and span and clean. You want to look dirty. So this is the look that you're going for right here. I will show you one thing. When you go to the federal uniform that I wear, if you're trying to save money and you're just starting out, you got your brogans, that's your shoes. If you want to get some sky blue federal pants and start off with, that's okay. That's okay. Scarf. Let's go into some of your kit items now. Some of the things you don't use every single time, things you might keep around in it. You might want to keep a scarf. It's October now. Denver Downs, at the end of this month, it might be a little chilly, so you might need this. Haversack. Well, the nice thing about being a Confederate is you can do either or. If you're Union, you're kind of stuck because they all pretty much look like the same thing. This is a typical Confederate haversack. It's got 3 buttons. This is a Confederate design, and it is made out of cotton, and this is untreated. So you'll notice that this is Confederate. If you want to do that, that's fine. Or, if like Lieutenant Willis said, you can go with this tarred haversack. This will be federal issue. So again, if you're looking for interchangeability, you can use this with your federal. That's period correct. That's actually correct. Federal design. And if you're a Confederate like us, well, say, hey, I got that off of a dead Yankee. They ain't going to need that no more. So you can use this both ways. So that's spending one money, good quality, both outfits. That's something you can do. I'll get back to this here in just a minute. Now, as far as cans, beverages, food items, this is Old Doc Bell's bottle. Notice the cork there. He sells drinks out of these at some of our events around South Carolina. And if you keep the bottle, as the policy now is, you can bring it back and he'll give you a refill, I think for like $1 or maybe $2. But save that bottle. And what I like to do as a Yankee, I like to appear like the mean guy, because as a preacher, I'm supposed to be a good guy, but you can be a Yankee. But anyway, I'll get to that on the next video. Also, if you bring food, try to find online. I'll try to upload some links to this, some labels. Now, as far as the can opener, well, believe it or not, they actually invented the can before they invented the can opener. A lot of people, they just used a knife or a hammer and a knife. That's dangerous. I'll show you inside of my canteen kit in just a moment. A little item that I use from World War II. It's not period correct, so I do kind of cheat there. As far as hats go, one other thing, I'm just kind of skipping around here. Lieutenant Willis showed you this too. It looks kind of crazy. It reminds me of Scrooge McDuck off of DuckTales. This is your camp. This is your sleep headgear. So this kind of looks funny, but it does keep this old bald head warm at night. I don't smoke, but I know a lot of Southerners did. So this is your standard clay pipe, right there. Now, I did find on Amazon, this is called Honey Rose Farmers, tobacco-free, nicotine-free, 100% natural. This is herbal. I've never used this before, but I was just thinking about trying to appear more authentic. You want to have, as Lieutenant Willis explained on his video, period correct containers. And if you know Altoids, they've been around before the war. And what I did was I got a hammer and I put it on inside of our shop, and I beat this down where it was embossed. And then I spray painted the outside of this. You can kind of see this. This is metallic silver paint. So this is great. This is something cool. It didn't cost me nothing. I was going to use it anyway, but I didn't throw these away. I kind of sanded some of the red and white down, beat it down so it wouldn't be as noticeable. And there it is, Tim's. Don't have to pay $4 for them. Anyway, what I did was I found a tobacco label, and I put the tobacco from this year. You don't want to take this out because this is not period correct. But you can have like a tobacco pouch, and then I put that in there just to keep it together. All right, so there's those items. Here's a pocket knife. Get that off eBay for about $4 or $5. Any sutler. Handkerchief. Also, speaking of that, you'll notice the pattern. If you're doing Confederate, you want to stay away from the standard white, bleached, or off-white shirt. You want to get something that looks homespun. So this here's what I have. Don't do the white because that's more federal. We'll do the Federal Kit in just a moment. Now, I will say something about chevrons. A lot of times when you are in a unit, of course, a lot of times you're going to find some people that are just going to walk around with sergeant stripes on, and they may just be trying to promote themselves. Well, don't wear stripes if you don't know what you're doing. What a lot of people do, though, is they'll put these stripes on, and you can buy them off of sutlers, off of eBay, and you'll usually find them. They're on something like on a cloth that looks like this, and they'll be already sewn on there. Now, I am a sergeant, but in our unit, we usually don't wear stripes. But what I did, just in case I ever need to, I went ahead and got black ones. Someone actually gave me one, and I cut the backing off of it, the gray wool backing. And so then, I know it's going to take forever and a day to do, but that you hand sew these stripes on. Now, if you're union, that's totally different. I'll show you on my uniform there. But you don't want to use the standard blue, light blue for infantry, the yellow for cavalry. You can somewhat for red for artillery, but in the infantry, normally, especially mid-war, the Confederates, if they did put stripes on, they would put black on there. I will say that privates had no stripes like the modern U.S. Army today. Corporals wore 2 stripes, and of course sergeants had 3, depending on which sergeant type you were. So anyway, that's just an observation there. I don't wear the stripes, but anyway, a lot of people go overboard with insignia. Don't put any brass on. I mean, Lieutenant Willis talked about having a feather. That's your individuality, but it's like Masonic insignia, brass insignia. If you're Confederate, don't do that. Just get away from all that. You're just going for your typical standard guy who's fighting on the front line. Now, if you have coffee, you know, some people kind of cheat. They have instant coffee, but you put it in something that looks authentic with the period style label. This is a hardtack. Don't try to eat this. It's not like a cracker. Actually, that was pretty decent there. But it will break your teeth if you're not careful. And it don't taste good at all. Yeah, now Ken's does. So this is your standard hotel soap. It's inside of a, again, package container. This is your travel Kleenexes. I took them out, but again, it's inside of a period correct label. Pokes or sacks, you can't have enough of them. If you're at an event and a sutler's got them for sale, they're $4 for $1. Get as many of them as you can. That one there came, I think, from Avon inside of a pewter ornament my mother gave me. I saw that little sack and I saw the draw cloth. I said, that'll work. It's like a tobacco pouch type thing there. As a chaplain, I will have this. This is Confederate. This is like an armband. Or it could also double over sometimes as a put on your hat. Show you were with the ambulance corps. Wallet. Period style money there. Don't bring real money. I mean, bring your money to spend from home, but don't bring real Confederate money. What I'm saying, don't be dumb. Candle. Lieutenant Willis talked about a housewife. Well, my housewife is actually recording this. Thank you, dear. So this is my housewife on the battlefield, and as Lieutenant Willis said, it is a sewing kit. I got this from Mark Neitlinger off of Etsy, and this is a Confederate patriotic housewife. Since the ban on selling items with the Confederate flag on it, it's kind of outlawed now on Etsy, but if you, I will give you the link, like on Facebook, where you can find this from. So this is pretty cool. Something to read. They were very into reading back then, if they could read. Some people did not know how to read. So anyway, as a Confederate, I say that I captured this in 1864 off of a Yankee at Robert E. Lee. That's my 8th cousin, by the way. You got gospel tracts. You got a Southern Virginian newsletter, so forth. Got the prayers and times in which we live. I also have the New Testament. That'll be another video. Now this here is pretty cool. It comes off a blockade runner. It looks like a canteen, which is what it was. But when you open it up, this can double as a very poor plate. Have a double-pronged fork, toothpaste powder and toothpaste. That tastes pretty good, by the way. Here's another tin for lemonade powder. Another round tin. I'm allergic, and I have to take medication, so I keep this, and I put that some little label on there. I know that's my medicine. And here's my can opener. This is a, if I remember right, it's a P-38. It's from World War II, what they would have used. Usually nobody's going to see you using this, but anyway, that's what I do. I got some candy in here. Another bar of soap. Now, what I'm going to do is I'll take this leather string off. And by the way, speaking of leather string, you want to make sure you have a lot of leather string. Try to buy you some extra shoelaces. Not from Walmart, but buy you some leather that you can use. So anyway, you got this little stick here for my handle. And now you got your frying pan. That's another thing you want to do. If you're reenacting, you can get you a cup, but this is really kind of something that you want to get. It's called a mucket, or there's your spoon. The mucket is a mug and a bucket. So you can multi-purpose use this. You can cook in it. I can take this soup here, dump this in there. I could actually, if I was kind of creative, I found a handle. I could try to poke 2 holes inside this can and hang the can over the fire, and I could save this and use it, because remember, these guys were on the march. They were moving from here to there and yon, not like a lot of us are. Now, as far as your accoutrements go, real quick, and then we're going to end this. I'll talk more about this when we get to the federal one. This is like a knapsack. You say, what in the world is all that? Well, I'll show that to you on the federal one. A lot of Confederates didn't have this. They would use like a bedroll. But some of them did. Now, I will tell you this, as far as a belt, a lot of people get a U.S. belt and they turn it upside down. They do this too much. But the U.S. turns into SN, Southern Nation. If you are starting out, you can do that too. Here's my federal cartridge box. It's got the U.S. there, and then it's got the Eagle breastplate. But I'm going to go ahead and take this, put this on in just a moment. We have a Georgia frame belt buckle. Stay away from your CS oval belt buckle. Get you a Georgia frame. This is a Springfield bayonet and bayonet holder. I like it because it angles back. I don't use the infield, although I do have an infield. And then also here, this is a United States cap pouch. You'll notice that by the 2 attachments in the back. I use this on both. You can use a Confederate one also, but you save money that way. I do have a Confederate one. This is tarred, the tarred strap. And then as far as your canteen goes, you want to have this, but one thing you want to do is you want to get this thing and you want to sew this strap on both sides. going to be kind of challenging to do. You want to sew it on, and then you want to make sure when you put this thing on that this thing isn't hanging down towards your knees. You want to hike this thing up a little bit. You can hike it up even a little bit farther, but you want to make sure it's not hanging down here. It can be around your waist, but you might even get it up to here. That is period correct. It may not feel the best, but that was actually correct in what they did. So anyway, this is kind of my kit, and we'll show you more about the tent and how to load and shoot and fire in just a few moments. So anyway, Craig Loveless signing out. Thank you for watching.